Hi everybody, welcome back to the Happy Project. We are here for another really great interview with this guest. This is Tony, and I will let him say hi.
Hi, my name is Tony. I'm a photographer and dancer.
Where would you say you're from? And tell me a little bit about your family background.
I'm an American citizen. My dad was in the military. He met my mom in Korea. I was born in Germany. I lived in Germany, Arizona, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Florida.
So wait, you're military also. What branch?
Yeah. Army.
Army. Okay, I was Air Force. And your parents met here?
Yeah.
My parents also met. Where did your parents meet?
Camp Casey, I think.
Casey.
Or Humphrey. One of those.
Camp Humphreys? I know Camp Humphreys.
Is that the one further south?
Pyeongtaek. A little farther down.
Oh, no, it's Casey.
Okay. Casey somewhere else?
Yeah.
Yeah. My parents met at Osan.
Ah.
Here in Korea. Okay. So your mom's Korean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and your dad's black?
Yeah.
And you grew up mostly in the States?
Mostly in the States, yeah. Just everywhere though.
So when people ask you, hey Tony, where are you from? What do you usually say?
What I said, because I grew up mostly in Maryland, kind of, but I don't identify myself as someone from Maryland. Like, I don't cheer for the Ravens, I don't cheer for whatever sports team or anything. So
You're just Tony, right?
yeah.
So did you grow up speaking Korean at all? Do you speak any Korean?
I speak some Korean now. Growing up, I used to hate Korean a lot because I never grew up around Korean people. Only time I saw Korean people were at church. So when I was maybe 4 or 5 in Arizona, they forced me to go to these
Korean classes. Saturday mornings, right? Were you Saturday morning?
I don't know if it was Saturday morning, but it was just like, tree is this, namu. It's like, why are you calling it that? It's tree. It shouldn't be that. I had no idea what I was doing there. I don't know if it was because I was dumb. They didn't explain anything to me, but it was just like, instead of calling it tree using this sound, you're gonna change it and make it this sound from now on. And
so you didn't make the concept that this is just another language?
yeah, I didn't know anything like that. Like back then, I didn't even look at my mom as Korean. Like I didn't look at my dad as black or my mom as Korean. So it was just, what are we doing here?
They're just your parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when was that conscious realization?
Maybe in high school or like late middle school, around maybe 7th or 8th grade, I started noticing it only because of online stuff, because Asian gamers were the best. That was when like StarCraft was blowing up, and I used to play a lot of StarCraft, so it's like, so all of my friends used to just say, oh, you're good at StarCraft because your mom is Korean. It's because you're half Korean, that's why. So I started getting into understanding I was half Korean then, but other than that, before then, I didn't really notice.
This is really interesting. Okay, hold on. We'll hit that. So your mom, though, does she speak English fluently? So you never ever processed in your mind like, oh, my mom's Korean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she spoke English pretty fluently, and it's funny. She spoke like a black person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because she grew up speaking English around with your dad, right?
Yeah, my dad doesn't speak like a black person, but my mom's friends were mostly black people, like black moms and stuff. So she said, I don't know if I can say it here, but she said some stuff here that was just like,
Okay.
Like she'd be like, if I did something, like, you did what? Shit, what is wrong with you? Like, get out of here. You fucked up. Like,
Your mom.
Yeah. It was really funny. And so it was just, that's my mom. Like, I didn't think of it as, oh, she's Korean speaking English until later on. And then like, as I got older, she needed help with English stuff, so I would help her. Then that's when the connection started happening more inside the house. Outside the house, in high school is when I felt it the most, because at my school it was mostly white people. There's like, there are 2 Asians, there are 2 Koreans who were Asians, they were twins, and then there was me and my brother, so it's like 3 Asians total. And there was like 5 black people, everybody else was white. During that time, white people would look at me like I was a black person. Black people would look at me like I was not black.
Oh, okay. But not as Korean.
The Koreans knew I was Korean, but we never hung out. We were never in the same classes. But other than that, no. Nobody looked at me the way I looked at myself.
So how did you look at yourself?
I looked at myself as black, pretty much. Because in the military, I grew up with mostly black people until like middle school. So that's the attitude, the personality I had, was I was used to being around black people. I wasn't used to being around white people or Korean people at that time. So it was really weird to me that I couldn't be friends with the black crew because I wasn't black at that time.
What is it that would make them think that about you? Do you know? Like, what was it that separated you?
The way I speak and education. Because my dad was huge into computers, programming, networking, and stuff for the military. So, and my mom too, with education, because she's Korean. But at that time, the black people there, I don't know what was going on with their families, but they did not care about education at all, where I was forced to always care and learn and always know about computers. So we would be in computer class and I know everything in middle school, but then, and in high school too. And then when they saw me, they always looked down on me, like, who does this guy think he is? To me, now looking back now, it feels like it's more of a personal issue with them, and they're just reflecting that issue onto me. But at that time, I just felt alienated.
And that was all through high school.
Yeah, that was all through high school.
Whoa, okay. So then it was about high school, you said the gaming community and everyone was pointing to you like...
I was Asian, yeah.
So you're good at gaming.
Yeah, I grew up playing games. Like since I was 3, I was playing Nintendo, Sega, everything. Zelda, Mario, Sonic, So
then what is it that made you start thinking like, okay, maybe I am Korean? Like, do you have a defining moment that clicked? Because I'm guessing correct me if I'm wrong, but your parents probably never sat you down and were like, you are also Korean.
No.
Did that ever happen?
No. No. They just, actually my parents didn't really care about that stuff, but only being black, because that will get you in trouble in America if you don't know. But a defining moment, I think it's just being in middle school, high school, just how I was treated by other people. Either if I did good, it's your Asian side. If I did bad, oh, he's one of those black people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So did you ever talk to your parents about that?
No, not really. I think my parents were always busy. So like during middle school, my dad retired from the military, and then my parents separated for a few years, and then they got back together. But my mom, she loves working, so she's always working. So we come home and then do our homework and then play games. My mom comes home around like 9 p.m., make us dinner, and then we just go to sleep, and that'd just be our cycle every single time. So there was no conversation about what was going on in high school, middle school.
Wow, this is really, it's so fascinating. Did you have any exposure then to Korean culture? Besides language, like did your mom cook Korean food for you? Did she have like Korean characteristics now that you look back?
Yeah, she's definitely an ajima. Definitely, but she's like a cool, chill version of one. Like she's always nagging me like, when are you getting married? Do you have a girlfriend? Every single time. She always wants to feed me when I go back home. Like, do you want this? Do you want that? If I say no, then it's like, why don't you want to eat? Do you not love me? And so, but it's all like love. It's never coming from like a bad point of view. That's what I liked about my mom the most, was she's always positive and loving. If I have a girlfriend, she always thinks, oh, she must be really cool because my son would never choose a bad girl. Things like that. What was I forgot your question.
I was asking about cultural influences.
Oh yeah, so Korean food all the time, but it was just meat and rice. I hated kimchi.
Ah, 진짜? Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay.
Honestly, I only started getting into kimchi about 3 months ago. And now I always eat it almost every day for health benefits. Before it was just like, oh man, I gotta eat this? Like, it was a chore. It was such a chore to eat it because I wasn't used to the taste. Now I'm used to the taste. I just eat a lot of it every day. But yeah, it was mostly like, food-wise, it was mostly like American and Korean. But my dad is from Atlanta, down south. So he's used to Southern cooking. Korean food is almost similar. Fried chicken, pig intestines. Sometimes we had rabbit, mashed potatoes, and it's almost the same thing. Yeah, it's almost the same thing, kind of, but no kimchi for me. Yeah, and yeah, lots of rice. I used to be addicted to rice all the time. Like, I couldn't eat anything without rice.
So now you're in Korea. You're living here now.
Yeah.
What brought you to Korea in the first place?
To learn about Korean culture. When I was in college, I had Asian friends. That was like the first time I had Asian friends from, where was he from? Some Southeast Asian friend. He knew all about his culture. He could speak his language, Laos. So he could speak his own language. I had a Chinese friend who could speak Chinese. And then they're like, how come Korean people can't speak Korean? I was like, I don't know, that's a good question. You guys can't even read Korean. Like, what's up with Koreans? Like, I don't know. And that stuck with me. And that was the first time I had to learn how to use chopsticks. Because at my friend's house, they didn't use anything but chopsticks. And they looked at me like I was weird. So then I had like Vietnamese friends and stuff. And after that, it just got me thinking like, man, I should visit Korea. I wonder what Korea's like. So after my job of programming and designing, I decided I will come here for 1 year. And then I ended up loving teaching in Korea for 1 year. So then
You've just been here for a while.
8 years.
8 years?
Yeah, it's my 9th year now.
Wow, okay, that's a significant amount of time. So you were just curious, basically, about Korea and what it was like.
Yeah.
And you had no intention to stay longer.
Yep.
You just wanted to test it out. And why did you stay for so long? What was it that's made you change your mind?
Okay. I didn't like Korea for maybe about 3 years. The thing I loved the most was teaching. I love teaching. I'm one of the rare people who love teaching. So I always wanted to stay here because I love teaching. That was the only reason I stayed. And staying here is just, you pick up the culture more, you pick up words, the language. I've studied Korean here a few times at universities, academies. So it was just like this gradual build-up thing. It wasn't like a one thing, a switch where I just started loving Korea. Because
you didn't.
Well, I like Korea now, but at the time there weren't good Mexican restaurants. There weren't, steak was super expensive. I used to do weightlifting a lot, so meat was super expensive. It was like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? I can't do anything I wanted to do. But I was a b-boy back then, and then I started learning popping here from a friend, and that got me into the dance community. And then that gave me more of a purpose too outside of work. And then better restaurants started coming in. They started getting good Mexican food.
I feel like for you, it was like, forget everything else. Just the food. Only the food is what matters.
It's the food. Now we got good ramen, like Japanese ramen, American barbecue. Oh my gosh,
So the first 3 years were really difficult because was it the transition? Was it just, you felt like, oh, okay, I can live here comfortably? What were some reasons?
It was a transition. It was living comfortably. I couldn't deal with everybody staring at me. Now I don't think about it. Yesterday I was with a Korean American friend, and he was wondering man, aren't you comfortable? Everybody's always staring at you. Didn't you see that old woman just stop and stare at you? I was like, no, I don't notice it now. At that time, I noticed everybody always looking at me and everybody always judging me. When they found out I was half Korean, I got the whole, oh, why don't you speak Korean? Why don't you know Korean culture? Et cetera, et cetera. So at that time, I just stopped saying I was Korean. I was just like, I'm American, America. And then it was like, oh yeah, they're more friendly towards me. But after, yeah, I just got used to it. And I just became more relaxed and didn't really care about how they thought of me. Just whatever. Yeah, I'm half Korean. It doesn't matter anymore.
Like you didn't like to tell people you're half Korean because you felt like they would judge you more than if you just said you're
Yeah, because
American?
they would literally tell me, like, you're half Korean. Is your mom Korean? Yeah. So are they together, your mom and dad's? Like, yeah, why would you like ever say something like that? Yeah, so it was just annoying to hear these questions, especially like in a taxi, all the time. And it's like, I can't escape. I can't just like jump out.
Oh my gosh, I feel, yeah, this is so true. After a while, you just get tired of the questions. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like hanging out with like, sounds like a rant now, hanging out with like Korean people, it was always the same questions. Oh, you're half Korean, your mom is Korean, are they together? Where are you from and how old are you? Okay. Oh, yo, hey, yo. It's like, stop.
Because they're trying to what, mimic black culture? Is that what?
Yeah, a lot. And yeah, I used to get really mad about it. Now I don't care. You can do whatever you want, but don't come to me and just be like, yo, what's up, man? It's like, you don't say that to anybody here. Why are you saying it to me? I'm not special. I'm not different or anything.
So how do you wish people approached you? Like say you're just meeting someone for the first time in Korea. How do you wish they'd approach you?
Just say hey or hi or excuse me. Just a normal way, not like, I don't know, in the Avengers, I don't know, Tony Stark sees Black Panther. He's not like, hey, yo, what's up? He's just like Tony Stark. He just treats him like how he would treat other people. There's no like difference. I understand now, like they don't know any better. So now it's just, oh, okay, whatever. But at the beginning, it was just,
And that lasted for like 3 years, right?
yeah, it lasted about 3 years.
So have you really put in effort into learning about Korean culture and Korean language? Did you think that was really important?
Oh, yeah. I went to Suwon University to learn Korean. Yeah, it was hard. It was hard because the mindset a lot of language teachers had at that time was, if you want to learn a language, you must be immersed in it. So the teacher should not speak your native language to help you. But the problem was, there were grammatical things I could not understand or get. And nobody could tell me because I was the only American in the classroom. Everybody else was from other places in Asia. So I guess the grammatically, they were okay.
Some of the grammar structures can be similar.
Yeah, but for me, it was just like, why is this like SL, like when you're doing like places, prepositions, like I had no idea why. And the teacher would just like mock me. So after one semester, I just left. But I learned a lot of vocabulary. Then I started looking at Japanese books. And that helped me a lot, actually, because the way they teach grammar was really helpful. Then I had a friend from New Zealand who spoke fluent Korean, and he used to teach me a lot. So that's how I basically picked up Korean. I went to Hagwons and stuff, but with 15 people in a classroom, it just felt like you read a book, you read like one page, and then there's a practice sentence, let's go around the room and practice one time. And it's like, this isn't really, yeah.
So it sounds very difficult, this language learning process is always hard, but you seem to have stuck to it in plus 8 years. Do you think if you're not half Korean, would you have bothered pushing through all of this and stayed?
I would have been in Japan a long time ago. Yeah. Oh yeah. I grew up with, games back then. They were mostly made in Japan. I grew up on anime, like Dragon Ball. That's all like Japanese culture. The only reason I came to Korea was because my mom was Korean.
Did you feel it's important to learn?
Yeah, it's super important to learn about the culture of a country. Like, no matter which country I go to, I always go to their museums and I learn about their history because it feels like you're, I don't know, like contriving in a way to visit a country and not learn about the people or their culture. It just feels wrong. I don't know how to explain it. Like, for example, Singapore right now is like a first world country, but like I didn't know it was mostly Malays who lived in Singapore at first, and like they imported a bunch of Chinese people there. Like, you had no idea, like, why are there Chinese people all the way down south near Malaysia? There's no reason they would be there. So then like you get all this background history, and then you understand how people interact with each other. It just helps you put into perspective everything you know about a country or a place. It's like if you're not from America and you go to America and you say, why can't I say the N-word? I'm gonna say the N-word. It's like, because they don't have a concept of why they shouldn't. Every culture has this kind of thing. So you have to learn these. I think it's super important to learn these things if you want to be able to talk to people in that country.
You may not ever fully understand, but just showing that effort, showing that you want to, that makes a big difference, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's not like a country it's not like a walking mat of a country. Like, you're nobody. Everybody is like a nobody. Nobody's super important where they can just go somewhere and not learn about anything. Like, it just seems so arrogant to me.
After you came here now, learning about Korean culture, Korean language, how has that changed your perspective of yourself, like viewing yourself then?
Oh, it changed me a lot. I used to be very conservative before I came here, and now I'm like completely opposite. Just my perspectives on what people do and don't do. The things people do here are very different from America, but I used to judge them like, why would you care about that? And then I go back and look at Americans and see what people judge other people there for, and I'm like, oh, it's basically the same thing, but different subject. It's like, wow, I feel like an idiot being that way. So a lot of things like politically, socially, just like completely changed because I've been in Korea. And seeing how America is viewed from the outside, it's like completely different. Like out here, you probably think America is like going, like everybody's going around shooting schools and bombing places. There's people running across borders. But then you go to America and everybody's just like really calm, like nothing's happening. So it's really interesting.
That is really interesting. So you view yourself then as in you recognize things that you were judging.
Yeah, a lot of things. Like one year, these people were protesting the parade, and they were dressed up as the village people, and they were singing YMCA to protest against LGBT people. It's like, what is going on here? And then I go back to America and I see people protesting immigrants. Like, how dare they? They're evil people too. And it's like, they're doing the same thing. Just different people they're targeting. Things like that. Or if you have a favorite sports team and then you look at other people, I'm like, oh, you're one of those people? Like, or where you're from, what state you're from, things like that. Because I'm kind of glad I grew up in the countryside where all of my friends are basically rednecks. But if you go outside to like LA, it's like if you say someone is a redneck, it's like super offensive. It means you're racist and you have blah, 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 blah. So it gives you a perspective living in Korea and looking at America. And then it makes you change yourself because you notice these weird things that you used to do and you notice how dumb it is.
What did your parents think about you coming here to Korea?
They hated it.
Why?
Yeah, they're like, you're leaving your awesome programming, graphic design job to go to Korea for what? A giant pay cut? What are you doing? Because I was kind of the first successful kid in both of my parents' family. My brother, I think he was the first one to go to college, and I was like the first one to land like a white-collar job. So they were super proud, and my mom used to brag to everybody about me. So then it's like, oh yeah, my son, yeah, he's going to Korea. And then with Korean, like, oh, why is he going to Korea? Why would he ever want to do that? Because they grew up during the Korean War. So a lot of them haven't really been back to Korea. They don't know what it's like now. So their vision of Korea is completely different. So for them, it's why would you ever want to go back? They're still at war with North Korea. It sounds insane to do something like that. Now it's not so much. They just wish I would visit them more often.
What about on your dad's side? Did you ever get this? So I have a friend who's half black, half Korean. And what he tells me he will hear often from his black relatives or just on his dad's side is like, are you ignoring your other culture? You're ignoring your black culture. You're ignoring your black side. And almost judging him for coming to Korea to learn about Korean culture. Did you ever feel that way? Did you ever face anything like that?
The reverse of that, yeah. With Korean culture. I got that from Asians. So my Asian friends would do that. I think, honestly, those people, there's something wrong with them. It's a self-confidence thing, in my opinion. There isn't an exact reason why, but people latch on to their identity so much that it becomes like a team sport where you're on the Korean team or you're on the black team or you're on the white team or the Latin team. And he can do whatever he wants. He's not killing anybody. He's not murdering people. He's not harming other people. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to listen to people's opinions about it if he doesn't want to. Yeah, you can criticize someone for doing something, but to me, that's so minor. That's so little compared to the entire world we live in. It just seems so petty, but I understand why they do that because a lot of people do that in different races. Talk about Asian guys trying to get Asian girls in America. It's like this thing of, why do Asian girls go after white people or something like that? It's like they can go after, whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. It's so minor to me. Like,
man, it's
so weird. And like, I feel like people keep putting everybody into smaller categories. Like how dark is your skin? Like darker black people hate on lighter skinned people, vice versa. It's like, you guys are all people and all the same. You guys should just be helping each other out. You shouldn't be hating on other people for doing something that you may not agree with. You guys should just be helping each other. Like, this one-on-one argument is like, it's so petty compared to what's happening in the world. It just...
in Korea, skin tone, they always like really fair white skin, and you being half black, half Korean. How has it been like for you living here in Korea?
In Seoul, it's kind of okay. I don't get a lot of, it's rare. I got one recently at a dance event. I was photographing a dance event and this Korean person came up to me and asked me what time does the event start. This was literally a minute after they announced it on the mic. So I told him, and then he said, no, I was wrong, and he asked me again. I was like, okay, maybe I'm saying this wrong. So I said, I'm sorry, I don't speak Korean fluently. And he looked at me like, you don't speak Korean fluently? No. Then why are you working here? It's like, why aren't you working here? Because you don't got a camera and you're not good.
Wow, okay.
So I didn't say that to him. Yeah. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah. But during a dance battle, there's like maybe 20 or 30 dance battles that go on. And then there's like a break time for about an hour. During that hour, I was dancing with my friends who are like kind of high level. And he would just sit there and judge me and just sit there and watch me. Then if I look at him, he'll do this. And then I start dancing again and you just see him do this. And just keep looking. I don't know like if he wants to say sorry or if he's still mad at me, but it was just weird. That was the one thing I can really say in Seoul in like 4 years that I've been in Seoul. Everywhere outside of Seoul, it's been can't get a cab. Like, that is so stressful when, the taxi game Korean people play here. You stand right here, you gotta go this way, you're standing here. Okay, the Korean person will come right here. So then you're just hopping. So then you finally get to the front spot and then a taxi comes, he sees you and he just keeps going and then there's someone here who just walks up like, hey, taxi, and he just stops. It's like,
Do you think it's distinctly because of how you look? You think that's what it is?
Yeah, because it was a joke because I had Korean coworkers, so it'd be like, okay, Tony, you go try to get a cab. Okay, this ain't working. And then it's like, okay, you go out and get a cab. My Korean friend, it's just like instantly, like, whoop. And then they see me running up and it's like, what are you doing here? It's like, I'm trying to get a cab too. So sometimes my friends would have to get me a cab just so they would stop.
Do you think that's more the mindset of an older generation? How's that? Do you see this kind of mindset with more our generation?
No, not really, but it's kind of hard to say because I think if you're outside of Seoul, you don't see a lot of foreigners, especially people who are brown or black, unless they're working in like factories or something. So it's really hard to say. But in Seoul, like I never have this problem. So it's really hard to say.
Yeah. What would you say then to, I have a couple half Black, half Korean viewers or people who are really interested in the Happy Project. And so I know that they're watching. And I think a lot of people are very interested in this, I guess this narrative, being half Black, half Korean in Korea. What would you say to people who are watching or people who want to figure out like, okay, how do I navigate this? How would you say like, okay, this is probably how you should do it, or this is what you should not do? Like, what would be some words? Maybe, I don't know if advice is the right thing to say.
I guess you can say advice. Yeah. I think being mindful. A lot of people stare. It isn't, yeah, it's rude, but it isn't coming from, usually it's not coming from like a hateful spot. They're just curious. So everything that you do here in Korea, be mindful of. Because a lot of people are ignorant and they don't know. That would be my ultimate, what do we call it, guide?
Yeah. Tony's ultimate tip.
Yeah, because if you're mindful, then it doesn't hurt you as much. Of course, you're gonna get hurt a lot in Korea. I mean, that happens everywhere. If you're an immigrant to another country, that's what happens. But if you're mindful of it, then it hurts a lot less, and it's easier to just keep going.
That's really good. Do you think it would have been different if you, say, had been half white and half Korean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a huge difference. I have a friend who was half white, half Korean, and the amount of attention he gets is insane. And then they see me, it's like, maybe I am, but it's like I'm the ugly girl of the group. So it's like, oh, hi, what's your name? Oh, this is my friend Tony. Oh, how are you? But even at the place I work at, we have our own lunch ladies who cook. They're like ajumas. And then when he came in, oh, you're so handsome, you're so nice, every day. Oh, hi, and then they see me, and then like, I'm like walking up the hill about to come in through the front door, and they'll just close it on me, like they don't care.
Wow.
Yeah, it's petty, but it's like, whatever.
You have to just be able to internally take it, kind of understand, and brush over.
Yeah, be mindful of the things that people do here. It might be petty, but am I gonna let an old woman closing a door on me ruin my day? No, it's crazy. It's crazy talk. So you just have to be mindful of the stuff.
Are you glad that you came to Korea?
Yeah, definitely. It's changed me a lot, I think in a positive way. I feel like only recently I just started getting everything together. But it helped me find myself in that way and have more confidence. I used to have a really big chip on my shoulder for most of my life. Maybe 3 years ago, it started going away, but I had a huge chip on my shoulder against like black people, Asians, white people, everybody. And coming here and just slowly reading, like doing a lot of reading on books and stuff, and studying and learning about different cultures in Asia, it's really helped me put in perspective of everything and not care so much about the minor stuff.
So then let's say, who is Tony then? What's Tony's identity?
Instagram at alpaca Tony. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a shameless plug. That was just a shameless plug.
I don't know. I'm just me. Like I'm just a human. I don't think. I mean, yeah, technically I'm half Korean, half black, but I just look at me as a person. I want to treat everybody else like they're a person, not as a Korean or a black person, a white person, a person who only likes hip-hop music, just a person. Everybody has a wide range of things they like and hate. So just treat everybody with kindness and respect and love. And that's how I view myself, is trying to be open-minded to everybody and treat everybody fairly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could take all the experiences I had in Korea and then just judge every Korean person the same way, but that would be insane. Like, people don't do that in America. Like, as an immigrant, they learn to deal with it, and then they learn, yeah, it's just how people are, whatever. You know, screw those people, I'm gonna just be like this. And you have to be the same way to everybody. Just treat everybody the way you want to be treated. So it's not about me, it's just about everybody else.
That's very good. That's
you.
really cool. Tony, thanks so much for just sharing your story and chatting with us. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we are The Happy Project. Bye. If you guys are interested in hearing more about these kind of interviews, or you just want to learn more about the stories of the Happy community and just what's it like to be human, I guess, you can follow us on YouTube at The Happy Project and subscribe so you keep watching these interviews. We also have the Instagram, The Happy Project, and we have a podcast coming up soon, so then you can hear these stories in more of a longer format. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we are The Happy Project.